And welcome to another episode of Original Box Sets Blank White Graph Paper Page Show, where we are going to stare at a sheet of white graph paper for an hour or more. Not really. That would be boring. Somebody would do that. ASMR people would be like, oh man, the lines. We're not going to do that, though. Tonight we are taking a change in speed. 3 of the 4 normal players have decided that they're going to go off and do other things. Imagine that, like spend time with family, or go visit family, or fly to another city and go to a convention.
Well, it is Father's Day coming up.
I know, I got totally left behind. I'm literally by myself on Father's Day. It's going to be so great. I'm going to be doing, not Tom Hanks. Oh, I lost the character's name. I'm going to be wearing a t-shirt, my underwear, and sliding around the house in socks and annoying the dog.
Nice.
Was that Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
That it was, yep.
That's what I'm doing on my Father's Day. I'm going to buy myself a card. Then I'm going to buy myself a cheesecake. Then I'm going to eat the cheesecake with the card.
With the card? That sounds a bit complicated.
Shovel it in with the card.
Please tell me you're live streaming that. I think it would be hilarious to watch.
Oh, we can totally do that. I will live stream me eating a cheesecake with a card for my Father's Day. And yes, totally. Radio, yeah, my Father's Day. I'm all alone. There's a song in there somewhere, but I won't sing for you guys.
But it's just you in this chat, so there's no one beside you.
Very good, sir. If I was wearing a hat, I would tip it off to you. That was a nice pickup. We are currently waiting for one other player to accept me as his friend so that he can join this call and jump in here. As everybody knows, Evan has been joining us for the Magic Shop. Yay! We're getting a new Evan today. To keep from them being confused...
Call me the Canadian.
No, we're going to call you Evan, and because at the convention when we met him, he was wearing a Star-Lord costume, his name is going to be Star-Lord.
Why can't I have a cool name?
I thought Evan was a cool name.
Yeah, it grows on you.
Well, do you have a nick... Well, if we're going to give you a nickname, then...
Evan works. I do not want to hear what you're about to come up.
Yeah, the first 3 in the top of my head probably should be... First one, maybe it could be good enough, but after that, it just goes downhill. All right. So, we are waiting on Star-Lord to join us. Evan is with us, and what we're going to do today is we're going to take advantage of 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, and I came up with a one-shot game that I feel should be kind of entertaining. We're going to take approaches to the way the game is going to run maybe a little differently. I still have a story I'd like to tell, and so we're going to see if we can't do that. Evan and Star-Lord are going to be using a website called Fast Character Maker to make their characters. Evan has already finished his. He is going to be playing a Tabaxi Ranger. And did you pick a background for this Tabaxi Ranger?
I completely blanked on background, so I just picked the one that I thought would fit. So he is an Outlander.
Great. All right. So let me get Star-Lord's attention. Cool. He was talking about some ideas that he had, and we're going to see if you're playing a ranger, maybe he could do his magician idea.
Like I said, if my character doesn't work, I'll just reroll. I don't really have a preference.
I'm pretty sure it works with what I'm going to be doing.
Sounds good.
He's not responding, so we're just going to go ahead and move forward. You're going to be playing a Tabaxi Ranger, and I'm going to get me some notes real quick, because I'm making this stuff up on the fly. Oh, he said something. It is blank to me. Accept my friend. That's not how you spell friend request. Friend request. So you can join the call. I still misspelled friend. I am a terrible person. All right, it says he accepted my friend request, so now I have to, how do I do that? There you are. Do this. There he is. All right, now we've got the three of us in here. I'm going to rename this. I guess I can't. Yeah, man, I've had one heck of a week, radio. It's been something. I'm caffeinating myself right now, though. The invite has been sent out. He did not accept the call. He's set up and ready to go. He said he's just finished his character. And we will move forward. You and Star-Lord both. Oh, man. You know what, radio? After this game's over, we'll sit out and we'll hang out and talk about who had the bigger pile of dog shit week. Oh, my God. That'll be fun. Welcome, Draconic Kitty. So, as soon as he gets set up with joining the call, I'm just going to clue him in. But the two of you are going to be playing, you're going to be playing the role of military characters.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Ah, there he is.
Hello, I have arrived.
You have arrived. Welcome, Star-Lord.
Nice to be here. Nice to be here.
Star-Lord, I want to introduce you to Evan. Evan, I want to introduce you to Star-Lord.
Nice to meet you, Evan.
Nice to meet you too, Evan. You have a really nice name.
Oh, thanks. I mean, yours is, like, exceptional.
Why, thank you. That's what they call me, Exceptional Evan.
Do I... Awkward cough. Anyways.
Oh!
Yeah, no one calls me that, so you're good.
You two are the ones who have showed up for the game. Other people have decided to go off and do family-related events or go to a convention in another city and leave their significant other behind. So I am pretty much just going to wing this. Tonight we're going to do a one-shot 5th edition game. And you sent me a message a moment ago saying that you had finished your character.
Yes.
What did you choose?
I decided, since the other ones were more fit for like a campaign, I decided to do Clad, the orc fighter.
Great. Well, Cloud is his name?
Kelad. Kel for short.
Half orc fighter or full orc fighter?
I didn't see full orc, so I chose half orc.
Excellent. All right. Evan, do you have a name for your character?
I do. Mala.
Do you have a shorter version like Maul?
Mala. Yeah, if you want to call me Mal, sure. I can pretend to be the Firefly captain.
No, we're good. No reason for that level of confidence yet. And you're playing a Tabaxi Ranger.
Ranger with the Hunter archetype.
Hunter. Okay.
Nice,
Great.
Nice.
All right. Kalad and Male, you two are part of the... Man, I want to say... I don't know what would, in a more medieval sense, the word would be other than seasoned troops. You guys are seasoned troops. You guys are going to be playing. Now, most fantasy D&D style games are about adventuring and dungeon delving and stuff like that. Well, we're going to tell a little bit of a story. So this is a one-shot. We have the opportunity to do so. And I believe that you guys are going to have some fun with this. So we're going to head down that way. You guys are going to be military. Not retired. You're still in the military.
All right.
We're going to consider that you have some rank. Not like if we're going to kind of compare the military that this country has to our countries have, they would have like an officer rank and an enlisted rank in similarity. But in this more fantastic medieval setting, they would have nobility and then people who have skills, and then there would be the like conscripts, peasants, and whatnot that are rounded up and told to go do fighting. You guys are the in-between. You're not nobility and you're not conscripts anymore. At some point during your life, you were, and then you moved up because you didn't die in the first or second battle from a wound or a disease or a dragon. Instead, you survived on and became skilled. I want to make sure that both of you made your characters 3rd level.
Yes.
Yep.
Great. Ewell is a terrible, terrible name for a country, but it's what the country used to be. It was the... skilled soldiers. Exactly. Thank you, Robin. Ewell used to be the name of the countryside in this area where you guys are currently at. Ewell was, it wasn't very, pro kind of like good living. It was very, scattered, nomadic. There would be tribal meetings, and then there's like city meetings, in which these 4 ruling nomad families would gather together and just make decisions for a lot of other people, how the hunting and whatnot was divided up. The kingdom of Janash, on the other hand, found that the resources of Ewell was really good. And so, when you see that somebody has gold, they don't know what to do with it, you go and you take their land. And that's where we're at now. Janash has successfully conquered the Uils for at least a generation. We're talking like 30, 40 years have passed since conquest has come to an end. And Janosh has pushed their borders even farther, claiming mountains and swamps and prairies and plains. Why is this important? Because this is where you guys are at. This is the area. This is like the history, the prehistory to the game that we're dealing with. So we need to have an idea what Janosh is. It's definitely not a monarchy. Maybe it's a republic or a democracy. What do you guys think? Audience, you too can participate in this character, this world building experience we're doing here.
So we decide?
Yeah, you two get to pitch in. Let's go with Evan first and then follow it up with Star-Lord, and then we'll also get a chance for the audience to pitch in too. Now, I've already laid out Janosh has started claiming territories because Uil had resources. This is not the first thing. This is definitely, imagine more about 10th century, 11th century Europe. Everybody's wanting to grab somebody else's territory. There isn't, like, generally you have a lot of fiefdoms and whatnot that are conquesting each other. Janosh is going to be a bit larger country with maybe a preset ruling body. All right, so Star-Lord, you're up first.
I'm not sure actually.
Okay.
What do you think, Evan?
Personally, just the way that it's being described reminds me, especially with medieval Europe. Granted, this is going before the 11th century, but it sounds like Ganache is kind of like ancient Rome.
Okay.
So I could definitely see it being a republic that might be building into a democracy sometime down the line, like the foundation is there, but I'm definitely getting a more republic sense to it.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of Ganache just being like Rome invading.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And I like what Radio said, a theocracy. So why don't we call this the Republican Theocracy of Ganache? And I'm going to paste that in both our chat so you guys can see the words, as well as into the thing that we're broadcasting on words.
Twitch.
There you go. You know what? I also can do one other thing. Let me see if you guys can. Yeah, that's a great idea. I can. No. Yes. No. Okay. Window capture. We're going to do a notepad. See if we can share my notepad, because this is where I'm taking notes at. All right, we hit OK. Does it give me that option? Oh, it does. Hit OK. All right. I'm on kind of do a little
So in Roll20, you could compile a list of notes and send it to us in journal entries, if that's easier for you.
Yes, I can. And let me see if I can find that real quick. I want to also have the notes where the audience can see them as well. That would be also really good if it was a Google Doc, wouldn't it?
Google Doc definitely works. I'm just thinking if it's a journal entry, you could just keep the journal up on your screen and broadcast Roll20.
All right. Click on this button. Click on this button. Click on this button. Click on add. And it's a character, a handout. It's a handout. We're not going to call it mysterious notes. We're going to call it game notes. And All players. Can be edited by nobody but me. Tags. Drop a file. Save changes. There we go. Game notes. Alright, so edit. Where can I write it? I put stuff here. Let's see how this works out. I put stuff there and I hit save changes and it appears. Wow, I have to save changes every time. You know what? That's fine. That is perfectly fine. We can do this.
It works out. If you want to write terrible stuff about us, let the audience see and then delete before you save change.
Actually, what I'm using is 2 different Roll20 accounts so that I can put shadows, hide tiles, and whatnot, and you guys can't see it through the Twitch, because I have players in my other game, whose name I won't mention, who watch the Twitch while we're playing Shadowrun, and then they can see. You see where I'm going with this?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So, all right. So there we go. Some quick notes. I put them up there, so that means I can close. I don't need to save this. Bam. Good call with the journal entries. All right. So the Republican Theocracy of Ganache, and I like the idea that Robin points out that the clergy all clergy get a vote, and so in the theocracy, in Ganache, you become a clergy by being an educated individual. You go to college, you become smart, and then you get elected from your position in the church to a more governing body. And I'm assuming that their ideals is they go into an area, they put down their church and say, this is where we're going to convert people, this is where we're going to govern from. So their churches and their state buildings are the same, which works out really good when you're conquering and taking over other people's territory.
So they're kind of like a round table of saints instead of one single pope, like a usual theocracy.
Exactly. That's why it's a republican, because they're voted in, and there's more than one, and there is probably, and I'm going to assume that there's more than one head that governs the standing military. I don't think there would be one commander-in-chief. I think there would be commanders and chiefs that ran their own military. So the theocracy probably conscripts from their populace. We'll take from the point of view that a higher up, and we will generate him a name real quick. Let's see, fantasy names.
And I feel like if they're a theocracy, a lot of people would volunteer to like expand the land for their god.
Oh yeah, this is about their god or their gods. We need to determine if this is a monotheism or polytheism. That's very important stepping forward.
I feel like they would have one, because I feel like usually the people with multiple gods that they would worship would want to like bring in people that'd be more friendly to outsiders, but I feel like they're invading other countries, so they want to convert people to their religion.
Okay.
So while I agree that a monotheism would just make everything more simple, if you think about, say, the Nords, they were definitely polytheistic, but were still a conquering and absolutely brutal culture.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see it going either way, but with a monotheistic vibe going, I'm sure that we could relate a tiny bit better, because for the vast majority, there are only a couple religions that people still talk about today, and they are, again, the vast majority of them are monotheistic, so just easier for us to relate. But monotheistic just also lets the characters or the culture have a greater sense of unity, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to lean toward a polytheistic, but instead of, like, as Robin is suggesting, one higher god, we're going to say that there are three ruling gods. That way the Republic fits well with this theocracy. The gods have council, therefore man or the people should also have council. We're going to do three gods, and we're going to make it as balanced as possible. And as Robin's point, one higher god, we're going to do three high gods, and then several lower gods, and we're going to kind of play around with those ideas. But I think polytheism is definitely the direction we want to go.
Yeah, because if we're going for more Rome, they had polytheistic religion.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
All right. Now we need three gods' names. They don't have to match. One should at least give us the impression that it's feminine. One should be at least masculine. And the other one can be neuter.
Low-key looking up generator.
No, I think I'm going to wait for you guys. We've got a very active audience, and we've got two really great players. I'm just going to take what you guys provide.
Yeah, that's what I was saying I was doing. I was looking up a generator.
Well, if you've never seen Emily's webpage, I can definitely drop it over here for you. Fantasy name generator. I know a lot of people use it. The writer of it, her name is Emily. She's really great. She does all of it by herself.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, so what I saw here, it's kind of interesting idea. It's Kara, the goddess of sleep. Maybe there could be like one god for sleep, one that like represents a whole bunch of other things, and one for awakening, which means like truth and stuff like that.
Ooh, I like that. Like a god or goddess of the sun.
Yeah,
the morning time, that's when you get up and do stuff. Okay.
Yeah, and then the moon represents like sleep and like hidden, I don't know, stuff like that.
No, that's good. He needs a name though. He or the neuter one needs a name, because I think we will definitely go with Robin's suggestion for the Lady of the Sun.
Yeah, I was about to point that out. Sounds wonderful to me. Selene? Selene?
Selene.
So they could be like represented by sun, moon, awakening, sleep.
Yeah, we've got the sun, which is about waking up. It's about order, getting your day started, doing your thing. Moon is about the end of your day. It's a little bit of a bit more deceptive because it's dark. It's not necessarily bad, but it's also kind of more favorable to those people who are better at the tongue. Bards and musicians. Praise to the lady of the god of the night.
Maybe he's very suave, and he's the guy. He's also the god of parties. That's why bards pray to him.
Ooh, Radio's got a really great suggestion for the name for the neuter god.
Ao works out. Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure I've seen that name somewhere, possibly Neverwinter Nights, I think, had Ao as a god.
Mm-hmm, it does. They believe that he was one of the prime gods that helped forge the world. He's like a big-ass dragon.
There you go, Forgotten Realms. Yeah, I forgot what setting Neverwinter Nights was in, but yep. No,
Right.
definitely Ao. Sounds good.
I'm going to go ahead and post what I've written down so far, and we're just missing the information on our third and final deity to finish the Holy Trinity. I hope y'all noticed what I did there.
Yeah. So I feel like we already have awakening and sleep, but what else would there be? Maybe a god of life and death?
Twilight, where sleep is everything that is hidden, sun is everything that is true. Those are two very absolutes. You could have one god that is the gray area.
Okay.
Hmm.
Lord of the Twilight, or the Dawning. What would his name be?
Thinking real quick. I think I have an idea. I just need to find it.
Hash out some letters. I'll try spelling it.
How about Gricio? It's the Latin word for gray.
All
Or
right,
Gricio.
Grisio. Go ahead and spell it. Griseo. How did I know?
Hey, nice.
I play a video game called Gris, and Gris is the Spanish word for gray.
So
Castilian
and then
mainly.
Spanish. Yeah.
Grisio.
So I like.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say I like the idea that they would pray to the sun god like during the morning, and then when they're falling asleep, they would pray to the moon god. Like it's like a cycle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe Gricio is like, maybe he's like the god that like of hope or like maybe war or something that they pray other than that cycle. Like during the day you'd pray for luck during the day, and then night you'd want to like pray for like a good night's rest, good dreams, maybe a nice night out of the town. Maybe Gricio you would pray to when going to war or like in your time of need or something like that.
Okay.
It's just an idea.
No, it's great ideas. I'm writing that down. I just wrote it down and published it.
Oh,
It's published
nice.
on the internet. It's forever.
Boom. Maybe he has like maybe he's like the it's kind of funny. I think he like has like this his entire realm of like stasis maybe like it's forever twilight, and he's like I don't know. I feel like both the god of the moon and sun both end, but his like never ends or something like that.
That's cool. That's cool. And when the god pays heed to his worshippers and he calls them into their dream state, he can, that's where they'll meet at, is that realm of shadows or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah, maybe that's like the kind of place they go to meditate or something like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Maybe Gricio is like someone that's also worshipped outside of this theocracy.
That's a good possibility. So, Ganache, being the Republic theocracy that it is, has taken control of the territories. Now, we're going to step away from this for a moment. We're going to close out these game notes. So, if you guys need to take a screenshot, do it now. Okay, it's gone.
Oh, okay.
It should be listed under game notes, so if you want to see them, you can. We're going to do some drawing now. Where is my free hand? I just realized that I'm about to do some coloring, and you guys can laugh at me. I just want to let you know ahead of time. Being colorblind makes it hard to tell these tiny little colors. I know exactly how to solve this problem.
All right, let's see it.
All right.
How can I see what you're saying right now?
You can log into our Twitch. Start with an S. Then a more different. Do I need any consonant V's? You can log into the Twitch. You can also look at the Roll20. I can. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Come on, do something. There we go. There we go. You should have adjusted what you see.
Okay, yeah, I see
you
it
can see
now.
a blue dot, and I'm going to make that blue dot disappear.
All right.
That is not what I wanted, Internet. That's what I wanted. Thank you, Internet. Freehand color hex code. There we go. All right, so we are going to put in some green for some territory. That is not green. I'm colorblind. And that's damn well orange, isn't it?
The world is on fire. We're in calamity.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like a burnt orange.
Oh, Internet, I hate you.
For green, you want probably a code like 9090FF would be a light green.
How about that one?
That's pretty good.
Great. I just want to point out, I'm going to scroll over here just a minute and... Come on. That button. Just so you guys can see this. I know I missed that section of orange there. I put blue in it because that will help identify it for me. But this is an important instrument of color blindness. Those two look exactly the same to me.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oof.
Yep, that's what it's like. That is exactly what it's like. There we go. Nice big swaths of green. We're only worried about this area over here. I'm going to zoom what the audience sees out just a little bit. There we go. Some good bit of green. Green, happy trees. Bob Rossing it.
Paint some nice little clouds.
All right. And as per request, some consummate V's. There's an S. Another S. Right? Big ol' S's. I should probably be drawing on the map layer. Oh, that's not what I wanted.
I will be back for 1 second.
Okay.
Robin came up with a good point that perhaps the reason Ganache is invading is for religious supplies. Like most historical cultures invaded for strategic reasons, but you know, with the I almost want to say the Crusades, they saw Jerusalem as a religious site, so they invaded in that sense.
That's very true. That is a good point.
That is true, Radio.
So before I left, I heard that you were saying something about the reason why they're invading, and I actually had an idea.
Go for it.
So, what if is Uya? Is that the name of the other country?
Was, yes, the country that is no longer in existence, Ulia.
Okay. Well, I feel like the opposing nation. How about Ganache worships the sun and the moon gods in the Holy Trinity, and Grisio is an opposing god. Like the sun and the moon god don't like him because he represents like everything eternal, and they're all about a cycle. So that's why they want, like, they're at odds, and they want to convert them, I guess.
Okay, well, their conversion is more than just the only reason. Nobody invades another country because of one thing. They invade because of multiple things. Conversion,
Of course.
materials, as pointed out by Radio and Robin, both. There was stuff there they wanted. Not only the territory, but the people and everything else. And so in that, we have what we've got going on here. All right, so these 4 dots represent 4 cities. And now we are going to... I'm going to find a blue that is not purple and draw a river.
Yeah, they're like going on like holy crusades to claim territory for their gods.
This is not what I wanted. I just want a god blasted line.
But yeah, like what you said, there's more reasons. Like I think I remember hearing that the Crusades were like the holy aspect was just an excuse to invade those countries for their land and resources.
Yes, it was.
So I feel like that's kind of what's going on now. They put on the face that like Grisio is a false god or whatever. The sun and the moon are the only true ones. We're going to invade you guys, but in reality, they just want their stuff.
Pretty much. It looks like they got rid of my ability to just draw a blue goddamn line.
What?
Let's see. I know, wasn't it?
Under draw, the third option, polygon line, isn't...
It looks like this. I mean, the second one I did was probably the best. That's what the draw polygon line looks like. Oh, you know what? I know exactly what I'm doing wrong. I just figured it out.
What's that?
I changed my second color to the blue, and instead of being transparent, and so it's not... Now it's going to be a line. Okay, great. Let's do freehand. A nice squiggly river. There we go. Nice squiggly river.
There we go.
All right. I remember.
Beautiful.
I remembered what I was supposed to do with this damn program. We're going to do gray for a mountain, and then we're going to do darker gray for the center of the mountain. You guys didn't realize this was art class today, did you?
I didn't realize you were Bob Ross.
I am.
Back from the dead. So the cities are all in a straight line next to each other on this river?
Pretty much. Rivers are really important because of resources and transportation, and you will see what we're doing here in just a moment. So this is supposed to represent a mountain. Please hate me if you don't like my artwork. It's okay. I can handle the criticism. All right.
Nah, I hate myself so much I don't have any left over to give you.
Oh, man. That's a bummer.
Hee hee hee.
I'm sure he'd much rather you hate his art than yourself.
I would.
Yeah, art's never been my strong point either, so...
If you want, I could draw something up.
Well,
next time.
You are going... Well, you can definitely help. I think you can draw on the map, too, if it's possible.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
give it a shot. See if you can draw something. Do me a favor. Don't do anything obscene.
Yeah, don't worry. There was a thought, but
I'm a telepath. I can read minds at great distances. That's why I said that.
all right. How's this, Jaws? Oh, did that show up?
I see a like a light blue circle and somebody saying hi.
I think that was Evan. Okay.
All right.
Oh, looks like I can't control Z.
No, you have to go back to the pointer arrow and either click specifically on the line you did and then hit delete. Is this brown? Did I find brown correct? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm like a tiny bit colorblind, so that looks like crimson, but probably brown.
It's a muted brown, yeah.
Great. This represents a really shitty looking forest, like you had gone to France or something, because they have ugly countryside in France. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Also, one thing I was going to note between the four countries being like lined up like that, the ones in the middle would be bashed out a lot since it's like they're under pressure by two cities. Mm-hmm. I feel like they would be absorbed by the other two.
This is more of a community than it is like center points of power. So if you can imagine that these are the two cities, the brown poop color is forested area. And so this is just a general representation for two lumbering cities. So as you can imagine, the forest used to come out a lot farther. And so the lowest possible dot represents the first lumbering city that became larger and larger. And then people had to move farther upstream. And so this is the progression for lumbering villages going farther and farther. And people just haven't moved because it's economically viable for them to continue living. The lowest city has roads near it. And the next city up has lots of pasture land now. And so that pasture land has been turned into farmable, arid land in which people grow crops for the rest of the lumbers. And as you notice, there's a mountain at the end of it, resources. And so we're focused on this part of Ganache, this territory in Ganache in which this river exists. And we have a bunch of lumberjacks.
Okay, so this is a small scale map. It's not like empires.
That is correct.
Okay, so that's what I didn't understand. I was thinking maybe like this was a large scale map and that was like as big as the Mississippi River or something like that.
I wouldn't say this is the Mississippi River. I don't have a really good example of a river because I don't know what you would. I would say that at the smallest part near the mountain, the river is probably no more than 15 to 20 feet wide. As you get farther down, it gets collected by a lot of tributaries that aren't drawn onto the map. And so it gets wider.
So are these, they're like about medium at most right here? Medium-sized cities?
Yeah, I would say that the three farthest up are medium size or small villages. They're, at most 100 people. I'm going to click on the map here in a second. Let me do that. So like this city, I'm going to click and you'll see that you just got moved.
Okay.
This city probably has about 40 people in it. There, surrounding that area, there are smaller burbs and other smaller cities in which exist. You get downriver a little bit, it's probably going to jump out to about 80 families, not 40 families. The first one's about 40 people, and then a bunch of smaller settlements. And this is probably about 40 families. You get down to this village area, and you're talking at least 100 families. Spread out, and I'm going to use my tape measure here. So you can... Is this going to work? Is this tape measure? Okay. So this village probably has roads that stretch in both directions. Can you see my blue arrow?
Yeah.
So it has roads that stretch in both directions and fields in which people farm and live. But this black dot represents the center of that city. And there's going to be a little minor change here shortly after I draw a road.
Okay. I was going to sketch out a road.
If you want, you can sketch out a road.
No, you're the DM. You choose the roads.
the road goes from here and ends. Oh, come on. That's exactly how you're supposed to do it.
Would
Make
it
it,
be
make it like
safe?
beige.
Would it be safe to assume that while there may be various, say, trails connecting the four cities, that the main source of transportation is via the river?
Yes, the main source of transportation is the river. I just drew in the Imperial Road. All right, this is a maintained road that is maintained by the government.
Okay.
They have soldiers that come through once every 5 years, dig up parts of the old road, fix potholes, stuff like that. The cities maintain their own roads. And so now we're going to... By the way, there's a piece of fuzz on the laser of my mouse. You see how the road has that swiggly swoop down near the bottom? That is
Yeah.
totally the random fact that there's a piece of fuzz in my laser and I can't get it out.
No, it works out. Say,
They built a road
that
around the giant
squiggle
fuzz
is
monster.
around a hill or something like that.
Exactly. And if somebody wants to put in the hills on either side, to kind of make it legitimate that piece of fuzz, go for it. And we're going to use a lighter color gray to represent less maintained roads. And then finally we're going to go down to one shade of gray that's almost whitish. And this is a road that is barely maintained. And that barely maintained road also goes into the mountains.
What's the main population racially? Would it be majority human, complete mix?
We're going to break the rules of demographics, and we're going to say it's racially mixed. We have dragon folk, we have cat folk, we have dwarves, elves, we have every race is equally represented. For the purpose of this game, race is not an issue. Nobody points a finger and says, those people over there, cat folk, we don't like them. I hate them. No. There isn't. The tension is more about that country has stuff that we want. And although when you get into societies and cities, culturally speaking, groups will segregate themselves. Halflings will live around halflings. Dwarves have a tendency to live around dwarves. There is no animosity or any level of segregation in this culture that stands out.
And just to be clear, this is the Ganache territory.
This is Ganache, yes. It used to be,
So that's where it's taking place.
yes, it just used to be Uile. This is one of the parts of the territory that was conquered. So here we have imperial roads that are maintained, and the roads that lead up into the mountains less maintained. All right, so we're going to... I need a color. I'm going to make a bubble.
Let me get a mouse because I'm using a trackpad.
I think that's an okay color. We're definitely going to use this color. I don't know how to unclick. All right, so now we're going to do a city radius. This represents the radius of the actual city and how big it is. That's actually just a line. That's not what I wanted to do.
All right.
All right, so there's that one.
Oh, are you drawing? Okay, never mind.
These are city centers and city influences and sizes of the actual city in reference. And now I'm going to draw smaller communities that are in the area. They exist, but we're not going to put a dot in because they're not like a PowerPoint or a place of power.
So does that work for the mountains, or rather the hills?
That is a really good drawing of a hill. All right, there we go. This is a nice little map. Radio, you're correct. That's exactly where I'm going. Race isn't an issue because religious hatred overrides that a lot.
So am I right in saying all of those circles are just places of importance?
They are communities. Every one of them represents a location for a gathering of people. The ones inside the forest represent people who live in the forest. Maybe they're lumberjacks and they bring their wood to the river that way. Or like maybe a small one might be a logging community. Or
Sounds good to me.
yeah, they just represent a small city that has no power.
I will point out that I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay.
Do you work all night and sleep all day?
I wish I'd been a girly.
All right. So in this territory, now we're going to go back to our history. So we've got a really great map, and I appreciate everybody assisting with the map drawing. We're going to go back to our notes.
So, do they believe that the god of sun like created life, and that's why there's not really like any discriminatory tendencies because they think that like all races were created under her?
Mm-hmm. They believe that although appearances on the outside can vary from person to person and being to being, what's on the inside, what you worship, truly defines your soul, and that is the one thing that weighs heaviest the most in this society. What you worship dictates what your soul is like, and your soul is generally more valuable in the Ganache theocracy than if you have scales or fur. Now, of course, money can still kind of make things happen, but religion tends to be a strong overrider. All right. So, they came in, Eulo went down, there was a fight and whatnot, and people got subjected or brought into the regime. That was at least 30 to 40 years ago, and your characters weren't necessarily in that war, unless you want to be. Your characters might not be that old. The war that you guys were part of is the one in which we're picking up from here. Yulia,
Mine was a baby.
You were a baby?
When that happened. Yeah, 31 years old.
Okay. Yulia, being long since gone, its neighbor country, Rido, Rido, is very... Rido. Rido is very... monotheistic, or not monotheistic, they're not very religious, and they saw the power grab that Ganache was doing as a challenge, and so they spent at least 10 years fortifying and preparing a new army, and they invaded. And you guys are in the area which was liberated back from Rido. When Rido invaded, they took territories. The territories that used to be part of Yulia fell to Rido. Ganache fought. You guys are part of... This is the war, because that was only 10 years ago that this all took place. So, okay. Not even that. It's been at least 2 to 3 years. We're gonna really up the stakes. We're gonna say it was like a on and off again trading of territories over the last 30 years, and this is the new territorial lines that have been drawn.
Okay, so we're like right on the border of action.
Right. They are probably about on the left-hand side of our map, probably 20 miles away.
How big is each square? Like, is it a mile for squares, or?
A mile per square sounds pretty good.
Okay, so it's not too big.
Yeah. What you're looking at right here, this river stretches. Yeah, because, like the city closest to the mountain, it has a 1 mile spread of where all the people live on both sides of the river. That's sensible. We're talking about like 40 different people. Some of them might be family members and whatnot, spread across land, farmlands, buildings, churches, stuff like that.
Okay.
So, the country of Rideau does not have a controlling religion. They are a group of agnostics or atheists. They hold no divine beliefs.
Those heathens.
They believe.
Heresy.
They believe upon death. You burn the body so it doesn't rise again as the undead. You move on, and that person's soul transcends back into a pool, and that person then comes back later in life as someone else.
Okay, so they're agnostic, but they really believe in reincarnation.
Yeah, they have no deities. There is no one that tends this regenerative pool. It does it itself. It's the way things are.
Like a constant cycle of souls going into new ones.
And they are very warrior-like. And so, like, when they lose a person in battle, they really just see it as this person's going on to his next life. So combat's big for them. War is big for them.
Maybe they think that like the stronger you are in life, like the stronger you get in your next life. So like the more you improve your body, like you get reborn and you get even stronger the next time.
Yep. And if you're born with, maybe they believe when you're born with a disease or something like that, you were a terrible person.
Yeah, and so they don't have many clerics over there, maybe, because they don't feel like healing the sick is worth it, because they think that they did something terrible in their last life,
Exactly.
like very dishonorable.
Exactly.
Maybe killed their friend in battle or something, or like ran away from a battle and then died.
Yeah, I like that. All right. Cool. There we go. There's our notes for this game. All right.
Sweet.
Kalad and Mala, you guys are once again Klingon Buddhists, basically. Oh, man. Where do you get this stuff from?
That's actually amazing.
It is. That is exactly what we did here. Klingon Buddhists. All right. We're going to name these places, and so we probably should write these names down on our little notepad. That way we have some ways to work with that. We can use the cities. So,
do we know the names of each of these 4 towns?
That's what we're about to do.
Okay.
So we need Radio. I need you to name the city closest to the mountain. Robin, I need you to name the next city closest to the mountain. Evan, I want you to name the 3rd city from the mountain. And Star-Lord, I would like you to name the last city.
All right.
Hey, Death Striker. Thank you for joining us. We are doing a 5th edition one-shot. I think we might have lost Robin. So, Evan, what name do you have?
Calimport.
Calimport. Got it.
Calimpot. RT. My apologies. As in Cal, and then import.
All right. And Star-Lord, what do you have?
How about the city of Zeefield?
Spell it.
I sent it in the Discord.
Great. Then I will copy and paste it.
Either that or the city of Agri.
I like Agri. It's easier to say.
Yeah. When in doubt, what?
I am a lazy individual.
When in doubt, look up the translation into Latin. I translated field into Latin, and it came out Agri. I'm like, oh, that's a cool fantasy name.
All right.
Kind of like for agriculture.
So I'm just putting the names on the map.
Thank you. All right, and we are going to call the last one Blemfaust.
I'm happy radio on that I was using Forgotten Realms there.
Say that again, Evan.
I'm happy that radio caught on that I was stealing from Forgotten Realms.
Oh, I did not. Oh, now I see it in Calimport. Ha ha.
Blemfast sounds like a family name. Like one family rules over that little area.
Mm-hmm. Which we can definitely do that. All right, while you fill in that last one, I will go ahead and get started here with words coming out of my mouth. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay. Agri is a pleasant village. The water runs cool. The log jams are less frequent this far from the forest. And you two have been stationed at Agri for at least 6 months. You can choose to be stationed here longer. That is, of course, up to you. Both of you have seen at least a small amount of combat when Rido came over the mountains to the west. You were at the forefront when the battles began, and so you have at least, between you, have seen, each of you have at least seen 1 to 2 actual battles requiring formation and involving casters, as well as a variety of other destructive forces. You have, even if you so feel like it, been part of sieges on cities and castles. Agri is the only area with a castle. The High Pontifex has built himself a church and castle on near the high road itself, heading toward the capital. The river provides a direct access to the seaports, but the road takes you to the capital of the area. The Pontifex, whose name is David, has...
Where is David?
That's the Pontifex. That's the guy in charge, the head priest.
Ah, okay.
He's the guy who makes all the calls. He's the one who says you can be fired or beheaded. David.
Would you mind tossing that into the game notes for future reference?
Yes, definitely.
Finally have a use for my notebook.
It wants to change Pontifac to Pontiac. No.
Didn't that company die out years ago?
I actually don't know. So you guys have been stationed at Agri for at least 6 months, with pleasant times. The summer has come. The fields have become in bloom. The grain is plentiful. What does this mean for you as a soldier, a devoted worshiper of the church, and one of its, let's see, we have a ranger and a fighter. So, fighter, what kind of weapons do you normally use? Sword, shield, two-handed?
I am definitely sword and shield. That's right. Yes, I was checking my character sheet to make sure that was accurate. He wields a sword and shield. He's very a frontline warrior because he's been considered the strongest. He was enlisted in the army because of his half orc blood, and he's been known to be the unbreakable with his sword and shield on the field, protecting others.
Excellent. So you are definitely you're a legionnaire. Is your shield like a small buckler shield? Do you carry a normal target shield, or do you carry a wall shield?
Yeah, I think definitely like kite shield or wall shield.
Wall shield. Excellent. So you're legionnaire. Not only are you expected at times to lead men into combat, you're also expected to hold the line. And once you get out of the military, the rewards that you would be expected, that the church would bequeath to you, are grand because your devotion. What kind of armor do you have for your character?
Listed here, it is a chainmail.
Oh, that's crap. We need to fix that.
Okay.
No. The church is not going to have you running around battling barbarians in chainmail.
I was like, I kind of wanted plate mail, but that's what it generated.
Plate mail is going to be heavy and slow you down. You'll probably have, and I would not have a problem saying you have a suit of plate mail, but you don't wear plate mail on your day-to-day basis. You wear plate mail when, like, hey, there's an army of 20,000 people just showed up. We all fucked. Get your plate mail on.
Okay.
Scale mail is pretty good in that regard.
Heck yeah. Let me just check that real quick. I'm on the character thing. Maybe a half plate?
Half plate?
Yeah, half plate.
All right.
And that's the thing that you wear on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. And what's the AC on half plate?
15 plus dex, max 2, and stealth with disadvantage.
Okay.
And of course, this has probably been bequeathed to you either through family inheritance. You said that you were picked up by the church and joined the military, right?
Yes.
So this was rewarded to you for service. The suit of armor, the full plate that you have, and this half plate that you have, were given to you after years of service to the church. Because at the beginning, you probably wore padded or leather, and you were just, you prayed not to die. And then through time, you proved yourself in combat that they're like, you know what, we got to put some armor on this guy so we can keep him around longer.
Okay. So Korad, his mother actually in the war, the previous one taking over the area, they were actually citizens of Uiel, and his mother died in the fight, and his father got conscripted by the military at the time. But after he decided to stray away from that and train his son. They were originally farmers, and then he eventually went to war.
Excellent. As far as 5th edition D&D goes, it's most like most fantasy. We are creating this scenario as we go along. All this stuff that we're throwing out in Death is literally what we started making right now when 6:30 rolled around. We have just been creating this world for this one shot as we move forward, introducing our characters, introducing the world, and then getting communication with the audience to kind of build this little scenario. Okay, so did your father believe in the old religions, the Ulia religion?
I think maybe he worshipped Grecio
Okay.
because maybe that was the religion that Uliel mainly focused on.
Yeah, so they basically took in Grecio as part of. They're like, oh hey, we'll take your god and add it to our gods. That'll be fine. Join us now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so he's very faithful to the god of everlasting twilight, Grecio, but he doesn't say that because it's pretty frowned upon.
Yeah, yeah. The Trinity is more important. You guys joined us. We had an agreement. We all got on that bridge and shook hands. Your religious leaders and ours did, so it's all good, right? We're homies. Fist bump. Fist bump me.
Awkward fist bump, like, okay.
All right, so weapon-wise, you use, what, a short sword, a long sword?
A long sword and a shield. But honestly, it would be a bastard sword because a long sword is not good one-handed.
Real world, yeah, it is. Fantasy world, we're not going to go there. But yes, okay. I understand what you're saying. Bastard sword's perfectly fine. All right.
It's just a reskin, rename.
What's that?
It'll just be a rename. I'll just use the stats for longsword.
Do it, and you can call it a battle sword, or just yeah, that's all we need. Sword.
Arming sword, I think.
That's good too. All right, the Pontifact, David, would have assigned you to Argai and Argri, and him himself have at least donned you with at least some sort of meritorious service medals. So your armor is maybe slightly decorated. Let's continue. Let's talk about Mala. All right.
Also, before we get into Mala, he... just establishing he's not that very good of a leader because he's got a -1 in charisma, but I feel like the other people are inspired by his straightforward, like, head on into battle.
Understandable. You do not give speeches, but you can lead soldiers into combat. You have, what, a high intelligence, a decent wisdom?
Yeah, they're pretty average. Mostly strength, con, +1 to wisdom, +0 to intelligence.
You got it. That's fine. That's considering the average person's stats are 8s and 9s, you're good. You got a bonus. They have minuses.
All right. On to Mala.
As a hunter and a ranger, your character, were you around in the first war with Ule?
Yeah, I was. I'll play myself off as kind of a wise, or a wizened character. Absolutely. Okay. I was just flipping through the Outlander characteristics, and one of the I believe it's personality trait, where personality trait number 4, I have a lesson for every situation drawn from observing nature. Mm-hmm. So that definitely suggests, a lengthy life.
Okay, so you were around some 30 years ago when Ulia was conquered by Ganache. How old were you then?
Back then, I would have been not quite an adult.
Okay.
So if that was 30 years ago, I'll play myself off as 45 now.
Okay. Which side were you on?
I would have come from Ereva.
So you were already in Ulier. Both of you guys have ancestors from this area, and so you got and when Ganache took over, was it an easy transition for you, or did you try to hold on to the old religion?
No, my ideal is life is like seasons in constant change, and we must change with it. So I'm pretty accepting.
Awesome, excellent to know. And so when Rido went to war with Ganache, I'm assuming at that point you were either you willingly joined or you were conscripted. Which was it?
Conscripted. Absolutely.
And what was your job?
My job was scouting primarily. I'm looking over the character sheet, where my perception is +4 and my stealth is +5.
Nice.
And survival is +4.
Wow.
So I'm pretty stacked in that sense.
Yeah, you are.
So, yeah, I would definitely play off, a forward scout kind of thing.
It's kind of funny. Are you proficient in perception, or is it just stealth? And
Proficient in perception, stealth, and survival.
okay, because I thought that would be kind of funny since my warrior is actually proficient in perception. So it would be like you're the sneaky one, but like you can't really see, and I'm like the one warrior that can see very far.
Well, it looks like you guys are both part of scouting teams. For that purpose, since he's a scout and you have perception, so you have skills that balance him out, we're going to change that half plate that I told you about into a breastplate. Its value is 14 plus Dex mod, but you don't get disadvantage on stealth. And we're going to change that suit of armor. That breastplate has been modified, so it is at least stealthy. So you're not going to be making terrible amounts of noise as you move about.
Okay, and I still have, for like the big battles, frontline, I still have the plate.
Yes, if you, well, I mean, like, I'm pretty sure you keep that at home. I mean, but if you wanted to, there's nothing that says you can't wrap that sucker up in some padding and take it with you.
I've got +5 on athletics, so I think I could carry it.
I think you could carry it too. The shield that's presented in the book provides a bonus of +2, which is adorable, but a tower shield provides an incredibly large bonus. We're going to assume that the bonus in the book is a +2 shield is a normal target shield, and that's what you normally carry. But if you need to go to war, you have a tower shield that you can gain access to. Either it's at your house or, you can go pick one up. You can go, both of you guys can go to any church and be like, I need more arrows. I need another sword. They're not going to say no to you. You guys are the defender of the realm. That's what your purpose is. So they're going to give you supplies. I'm pretty sure you can't speak, give us all your money and food and women. Raw. No, they're going to be like, what? No, come on.
Yeah.
We're going to tell the Pontifact on you. All right.
A tower shield is a plus AC of what?
3.
Of 3. Okay. And then a plate is a plus AC of?
Plate is 18.
Okay. All right. Need to write that down since don't have the character sheet physically.
Yeah, not a problem. Wow, this was some really fast world building.
Agreed.
All right. Going to close out the notes. I'll bring them back up as we need them. The summer has come. The fields have grown. They have become beautiful and lush. This means the opportunity for you guys to work fields, make some extra pay, have the opportunity to maybe plow your own fields. I assume that you might have a home in Agri. You might have family. You might have children. You might have an estate you have to worry about. Nonetheless, these are things that you would bring to my attention after I get finished with this description. The summer has come. The fields are being plowed. Things are starting. the old plum baskets are being opened, and plums are very popular around here. And this is good because as summer hits, the plum baskets are open, and it's not really a basket. It's a clay vase that gets sealed shut once a year, and many people generally have 2 or 3 of them just sitting around, sealed tight and shut. Vicar Alamarek is currently planning on opening 5 vases, plum baskets, that he has been preparing from about 6 years ago. He had a massive harvest of plums and berries and blueberries that he stuck into his plum basket with a bunch of seasonings. And the Vicar Alamarek, is planning on... so he's planning on opening all 5 of these pots. The pot is about the size of a golden retriever. That's about how big this clay pot is. There's going to be a lot of alcohol in it, and it's going to be really strong. And he sends word out to all soldiers in the area that he has some old wine, some fresh wine, and he's opening his plum baskets. And it is going to be happening at the height of the summer. Amongst all the other priests, acolytes, and whatnot in the city officials, it is planning to be a massive festival as the vicar is opening up his baskets to share with everyone. And the festivities will come. And how do you provide for this citywide gathering? We will start with Mala.
Evan, you good? He said he was having troubles in the Discord hearing you.
You can't hear me.
Yeah, he tried to rejoin. He's not responding. I could hear you fine, though.
Okay.
Sorry, I fiddled with one of my audio devices. It's back now.
All right. Did you hear what I described?
What was the last thing you heard?
We were collecting the harvest, last I heard.
Okay. Vicar Alamarek is throwing a party. He's opening a bunch of old vases that are filled with plum kimchi in it, and he's going to bring out a bunch of booze. And this is really happy because his family's big into making alcohol, and he's inviting like the armies to come around, and they're planning food and festival in the city of Agri. So what would Mala and your family provide to this festivities?
So under equipment and treasure, my character is listed as having a hunting trap and a trophy from an animal I killed. So I was thinking that I would provide fresh game, like small game.
Excellent.
And potentially, if I intend to honor someone, I could offer the trophy as a gift.
Awesome. All right. Cal.
All right. So my father owns a large farm estate that was previously from Uyal. So we'll be providing lots of fresh vegetables and plums.
Excellent. And so, go ahead.
One question about some of my pre-chosen things. Could I change Natural Explorer to be ULA instead of the Underdark?
Yes.
Perfect.
That would be a surprising turn if we went to the Underdark.
Yeah, after all that we just got finished doing.
Yeah, that was my thinking. Absolutely.
Suddenly, the creatures from the Underdark burst open and were invaded on both sides.
What? No.
Oh, no, it only works if I go there.
Oh, never mind then.
Like, it's not favored enemy, it's the explorer aspect.
Maybe we have to go inside to take down their nests.
So Natural Explorer, for those that don't know, double proficiency bonus on Wisdom and Intelligence on favored terrain.
Awesome.
So within the realm of ULA, my any wisdom skill or any intelligence-based skill gets double the proficiency bonus.
That's awesome. That is good.
I figure it'll, come into play, but also lore accurate or character accurate.
It is. The festivities are held outside the church and the grounds for the castle, the Pontifac Devit's castle. They're wide. It's normally a marketplace. A lot of the wooden structures were torn down, and many tables and fire pits were put up. The game that you provide is being roasted. Breads are being brought in from fields far and wide, and many dignitaries are joining Vicar Alamrek at his dining table in the church as he is hosting this event. You guys were invited to sit amongst the eldest of soldiers and mingle with these people. You have a chance to see beautiful maidens dancing through the square, tantalizing people with flowers and kisses as they move about. Wine is being provided in copious amounts, not on the intent that everyone should get drunk, but just enjoy themselves. Unfortunately, some people aren't keeping to that knowledge, and they're going pure shit-faced as quickly as possible. The evening rolls well on, and as the night begins to fall, so does the so does the enjoyment of the festivities, as a seemingly powerful and dark black cloud rolls out from the mountain to the northwest. It quickly blots out the remaining bits of sky and sun, covering any perfectly white clouds that were just drifting along lazily. It is very evident powerful magic is at foot. The priests and other acolytes watch as this take place. Quiet prayers as the thunderous boom. Is it an eruption? Will the mountain strike back? No thunder comes with this cloud, just black, rolling, sooty-colored smoke, filling the sky, not falling to the ground, not yet, nothing. It's just a blanket, and it gets dark, and then ash begins to rain down. Panic ensues. The mountain has erupted. Run for cover, everybody begins screaming. Running from here to there, finding an archway to stand in. Vicar Radolf yelling out, "Stand in an archway! It's the only safe place in any of these buildings! The ash is going to get bigger!" The rumble comes clear as the popping sounds of the mountain can be heard, and there's a shake. Go ahead.
I hold up my tower shield to protect a few of the citizens.
Excellent. You can hear the sound of the grit and rock pouring down on top of the shield like hard rain. The cloud turns the last few moments of day into night, and the Pontifact from a balcony at his castle call out and tell people, enter the church, go to a stone building. If you know of someplace safe, go there now. Do not panic. We will pray to the gods for safety. And so the priests begin entering the temple quickly. Mala, what would you like to do?
Personally, I would take cover in the closest building.
All right. We will say on a D6, 1 to 2, the closest building to you is a pub. 3 to 4, the closest building to you is a stable. And 5 to 6, the closest building to you is someone's home. 1. You find yourself in an established...
First natural one.
You find yourself in a pub. Everyone else is taking shelter here. The tin roof tinks and bangs as small rocks and hot ash begin falling down. In some places, the ash falls through the tin roofing and into thatch, and the thatch catches fire, and the bartender begins calling out, "Put it out! Put it out! We're all going to die!"
If I'm able to, I move as quickly as I can to grab a pitcher of water or possibly a heavily watered down ale to put it out.
Excellent.
Or assist in putting it out.
All right. Cal, what about you? Where do you go when the ash begins to fall?
Well, my first priority is to make sure everyone's getting to church. Do I see any more citizens that look like they're having some issues?
All right, roll a d6. On a 1 to 2, you see straggling citizens that are trying to get into the church. A 3 and 4, no one. And a 5 or 6, it's a straggling priest.
6.
You see a priest.
Oh, Father, get behind me. I hold up my shield and carry him under my arm.
Excellent. You get him to the safety of the church. The rumbling, the ground shakes. Bits of brick fall from high points crashing into the ground. They splinter, white and gray-colored dust flying from them. They're bits. One of them fly and hits you in your mailed chest piece. Tink. You felt it come from a different direction other than where your shield was, so it definitely caught you off guard. Evan, where you're at putting out a fire, a nearby chunk of wall, a small bit, falls through the tin roof and crushes something in the kitchen with a sticky squish sound and a scream.
I rush into and take stock of what happened.
An entire parapet has fallen into the kitchen near the wash sink area, and you can see that the half-witted man that you know of works this kitchen. His legs stick out from underneath this chunk of parapet. You cannot see his upper half.
Is he still screaming?
No.
I look up at the roof of the building. Does it seem like it's continuing to deteriorate and collapse in?
The roof of the pub is not deteriorating, but the wall section that is part of the Pontifex Castle is definitely wobbling forward and back, and so it's only a moment of time before another section of parapet falls down into this building. And this one is not going to be small. It looks like it's going to be about the size